to Off Track, powered by Rich Energy. I'm your host, Dave Neal. I'm absolutely delighted to say Rich Energy OMG Racing Yamaha's own Davo Johnson joins us. Davo, welcome to the show, mate.
Hello.
How are you?
Not too bad. My voice is a bit deeper than normal because of the commentary I've been doing, but yeah, not riding. At least I'm keeping busy.
It's like an Aussie Barry White.
Yeah. I would sing, but I wouldn't put everyone through that.
It wouldn't be the first time. You're singing in public anyway. That's it. We'll save that for another time. Mate, how are you? How are the injuries after the off at Alton Park that unfortunately curtailed your performance here?
Actually, really good now. By the end of this week, I think I'll be ready for the TT.
Excellent.
So it's like completely the wrong time of when it all happened. Like, now, when I came here 2 weeks ago, when I arrived on the island, I was only just off crutches, and I was sort of trying to avoid crutches, but it was all the muscle damage and stuff that was the issue, and I couldn't even step over the bike. I could have definitely ridden, but at what level, who knows, but it would have been a tough practice week and then first couple of races, but by the senior I think I would have been ready to roll. But yeah, I understand the team didn't want to do that. They didn't want me at my full capacity, my 100% physical state. And so I come over and help the team out as much as I can anyway. And then they got me doing the commentary gig, and that's been keeping me busy. And now my throat's gone, so I've been staying away from the parties, believe it or not, just to try and save my throat. So because the commentary gig is, the senior, tomorrow's going to be a big day now with all the delays and stuff that we've had. So got to look after the old throat. I need some lozenges.
How's the commentary gig been? How much have you enjoyed it, and what sort of preparations did you have to do before you arrived on the island for it?
Nothing. I just rolled up. I just came and just being myself. But I've done a little bit of commentary in the past. I've done a little bit with Fred Clark in the BSB, and also done some in Australia with World Superbike and Australian Superbike. So it's no real difference. Just talking a lot of different things, but more about sort of the technical side of things is what I've been focusing on with parts of the track, and telling people like about our throttle control and how much we brake here, and basically what you need to do to go fast. So it's been spinning a lot of people out. The helicopter footage that we're getting live with the TT Plus, I've got so as soon as I see a section, I've got to know exactly where it is, and so it's been helping me as well in remembering the track. I still remember every bump, every curve, every man I'll cover, every tree. It's like embedded in my brain, so the commentary sort of making me even more aware of where I'm at, especially with the helicopter stuff.
Has the commentary gig helped you out sort of mentally as well, for not being able to ride here but still being involved in such a big capacity? I guess it's almost the next best thing, but you can never replace riding, obviously, but to still feel involved and you'd be such a huge part of it. The response on social media has been incredible to your commentary gig.
Yeah,
so double time's working out well for you.
Yeah, it's surprising the positive comments again, so that's cool. Obviously it's on a world scale as well, so there's a lot of people watching it, which it makes it all makes me feel good about it. But as soon as you make one little mess up, like Glen Country Road, I was calling it that, but it's Glen Country Road, Cutchery, not country. So I didn't even know that until yesterday.
And how many times you been here?
Yeah, I know. This should have been my 9th year racing, so I should have known that. But no, it is good. It's definitely kept me out of the beer tent. So that's. I was worried about coming over, but I wanted to help James out. Obviously, I got the way I roll when I come to a track. I know exactly how I want my bike to feel, and the sections I'll set my bike up around. And so I've just been trying to help James out with that. And I think it's helped a bit. I would have probably gone some more drastic changes, but they weren't they'd make the changes that I said I'd do. They've gone similar, but I would have literally just changed everything, because it's big changes I like to do here and move forward quickly, whereas James is quite methodical and sort of builds up to it. But he's I think by the senior he's going to be going well, and I think in the super sport he'll be on it there as well. So yeah, it's good to sort of help out there where I can, so I don't feel like like I'm not wanted. But no, I'll do what I can. But the commentary gig, that's it's busier than I wanted to be, really, because I wanted to go out on the track and watch, like go to Gorse Lee and corners like that. But I told Bradley to go out there and have a look. But so hopefully we'll get out there at some point, because that's an amazing spot. Well, I've never been, but it's always somewhere where I've wanted to, and I was hoping to this year, but then the freaking commentary gigs was flat out, so doesn't matter, still good. I'll try it another year. I'd rather be riding. I'll definitely be riding next year.
Excellent, that's good news. That's what I was going to ask you. We're all going to be set fair for next year for you to come back here and ride, because it would be unfair on you to finish your TT time in this way. You want to finish it on your terms, not Knickerbrook's terms.
No. Well, I'll make a full recovery from this, and I still know I'm going to be fast. So and I still feel the best is yet to come for the TT for me. The age I'm at, it's a different sort of a way of riding for the older is more experience sort of pays off here. And I was really looking forward to riding the Rich Energy OMG Yamaha here, feeling how it felt on the short circuits and the different bikes that I've ridden. I think we would have been doing well. But not meant to be, but next year I'll have a crack, and hopefully with the same team.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, it'd be great to work with you fully on the TT, rather than just sort of passing by in the beer tent and in the media centre and in here, which I'm grateful for your time for, mate. I really appreciate
it all just depends on what Alan wants to do, but I'm well up for it, and I know that I'll do a good job. So next year that's what I've got to focus on, and also the classic TT, which is one that I in 19 I won that it was Kawasaki, which I rode, and I'm going to ride the same bike again, so in August. And that's important for me to do, really, because I've had by that time be 3 years away, and you need to do laps here, so it's important. I'll come back in August. I'm going back to Australia on the 16th and just go and recover properly. I have switched off a fair bit from thinking about riding, but I'll go there, recover, start training again, and then come back, hopefully do a BSB. I've got to talk to Al about that, but I want to do Thruxton, if you'd let me, and then do the classic, and then focus on 2023.
Which will be here before we know it at this rate. The pace that the year's gone so far is incredible. Yeah. Speaking of pace, that's quite a nice segue in, really. The pace of the TT this year, especially on the Supersport bike, Michael Dunlop doing a 1:29.4, that's just rude. What are your thoughts on the pace this year?
It's the depth is not. I mean, in super sport, it's super fast. You got to be on it to win in any class. The depth of it isn't as a top 10 is not as crazy as it's been, but top of the pace at the top is that from what Dunlop did in that last lap of the super sport was crazy, and then the last lap of the super stock Connor Cummins 1:33. So the track's good. All the more the more I think about it, the more depressed I get. And
sorry, mate.
Because I just sort of know roughly where I'd be, and but the track looks good. Like it's I would love to be out there.
I would try and lift this somehow, because I know it's a difficult time, isn't it? Let's be honest. To focus on 3 years of waiting for this and then for it not to happen, it's such a tough time. But let's wind it back a couple of years.
Yeah.
Let's go back to BMXing.
Oh.
Yeah, that's winding it back. I know we did a podcast very early doors, but for whatever reason it never aired, and we still don't know why it didn't, because that was out of our control back then. But now we're doing it. This is about time. Talk to us about your early years, because they fascinate me on the BMXs, and the level that you rode at was incredible.
Yeah, well, I started racing when I was 4 years old, and I got my first trophy that day as well. So that's one that I've got, and I cherish my first ever trophy. And then it was me and my sister. My sister's one that she could have gone a long way in cycling in general. Like, she was so strong. Like, she won everything as in her early years, and I was like trying to sort of do as good as her. So I was looking up to her and trying to win as much as what she did. And like, she was strong enough to go to Olympic cycling as well, like, but she sort of finished quite early, and her life kicked in, because obviously when you're young and you do a lot, we were racing, the height of my BMX, I was racing like 5 times a week. It was crazy. And I went, when you're 16, you can race against the elite, so you can turn pro effectively. And as soon as I turned 16, the group that we were racing with in Australia, that it was basically that all them guys were the first guys that went to the Olympics and raced BMX for Australia, I mean. And so that was quite a good era for young guys coming through. Like, we'll turn 16, and me and a guy that was beating me regularly, and sometimes I beat him, is Dallas Mini, and he, between me and him, like, we were 16 years old, he was winning. I did win a few elites early on, but we're on the podium in elites at 16. Like, and then we both went to the World Championships, and yeah, I did 2 World Championships as a junior, and then from when I was 16, that's when I had my first ride on a motorbike around a circuit, and that was when the BMX got put to one side, basically. Which, I mean, I finished the last World Championship, which I should have done. The guy that won it got 3rd in the Australian Championship, and I beat him in the Australian Championship, and I injured myself just before it. Similar thing to here, actually. It was 2 weeks before the World Championships in Melbourne. It was obviously Australian round, so we're putting a lot into it, training every day, and then I broke my collarbone 2 weeks before it. I still raced, and I got into the semis, so top 16, but I was fucked. I couldn't, excuse my French. Is this PG?
It's fine. It's you, Davo. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Matty Stevenson, who we had on an earlier episode, it's fine. It's no problem.
Good.
But we can put a caveat on it. So just be you. It's
Beauty.
fine.
Yeah. So then I still raced, and I actually won one of the heats with a broken collarbone. I was just like, and it was all one of those what could have been sort of thing. But then it was straight after that. Basically, it was BMX was out and motorbikes was in, and then it was a good. I mean, my dad sort of always told me, because he races in Australian Superbike in the 70s, and he knew exactly how much it was going to cost, and that was when he told me I've got to get a job and start buying my own shit. He gave me a helmet which is 4 sizes too big, and some leathers from his mate. That was they were too big at that time as well. I was still fitting to them, by the way. I was a big young lad when I was racing BMX. Like the power that you need to do BMX, I was similar. I was like mid-80s kilos as a 16-year-old, but my legs were just my legs are going to be forever massive because of the power, and this was the amount of stuff that we had to do to make you strong out the gate in BMX. And so I went from that. Then Dad he told me about the my bike to start with. Was like, right here he sat me down and gave me some home truths about what I got to do, and I had to buy my own bike first, 125 GP bike, and went from there and won my first race on that. It was quite fast progression from Australia just to getting a job in Europe. So I was just 18, just turned 19 when I got my first gig to come to England. So it all happened really fast. And it's been a hell of a ride ever since.
Has it ever? So you've done British Superstock, you've ridden British Superbikes, you've done the TT, you've done a whole host of road racing. What's been your favourite time?
Probably the Superstock, because that was when I was like at the front and winning there with a good team. There's a lot of hard times because I never had any budget behind me, and that was sort of the whole thing at the start. Like, it was, I mean, my dad could have put money in, but it would have only gone a certain amount. Like, when I first come over, I was racing with Craig Jones and Sykesy and Crutchlow, and was dicing and beating him. I mean, we were dicing all the time. So Craig Jones was the standout. Like, he was just so fast and the word go. And it was the battle for second between me, Sykesy, and Crutchlow was always on. And the year after, that was my first year, and I put all my life saving into that. And then the year after, I was just like, what do I do now? And then I just had to try and find a free ride. and I did in super stock 1,000, and it was with a Yamaha team, and it was when the K3 Suzuki came out, so it was a tough bike to go well on, but we did all right. Got top 7th in the championship, and I was on the front row in the last round, and I was 3rd in the race and launched it down Craner Curve. That was good. The battery went out into the crowd, so it snapped the bike in half. But
it's either expensive, painful, or both down Craner.
Yeah.
Usually both.
That's it. And from then, like, we all got good rides the year after, and then from then it was just like I was still just chasing free rides until I started to get paid a little bit from some of the teams. And 2005 was the first time I started to make a little bit of money. And then, but yeah, the other guys, I've seen them sort of, they had their massive sponsors behind them, and they were like fast tracking. And yeah, that's always been a little sort of a thing that's like bugged me a fair bit, that I didn't get that opportunity to go straight to a factory team with money. But is what it is, and it's turned out all right. Like, I still had an amazing career, and it's still going, still dragging
going.
It out.
Yeah. Having an amazing career.
Yeah, exactly.
Having an amazing career.
But the BSB side, like, you know how much you got to put into that, and that's where it's, when you get older, that's when you sort of work out if you want to put everything in, like the amount that Bradley's put in, for example, in our team, and also Kyle, like, they're just putting so much into it. But yeah, as you get older, there's a lot of different shit I got going on now, so I just focus on this, and this is a sort of a deal that you can focus on. Obviously, it's always in your brain, but you don't have to have that sort of same mentality as well, you don't have to race all year in British Superbike level to be fast here. So yeah, my focus has shifted. So I am a TT guy now, I suppose, but I'm a short circuit guy at heart.
And it's what you're becoming more as the years progress, as you mature as a rider. This is where the focus becomes, isn't it? And you became a factory Honda rider 2019 and podiumed for the brand as well. That must be the pinnacle of the TT career so far. Yeah,
that was awesome, and it was unexpected as well, because it was coming off the back of the factory Honda years that they had with obviously McGuinness and Guy Martin together. That was a disaster every year, and then the year after that with Hutchie and Lee Johnston was not the best year, and then I was too much with Hutchie, and he wasn't having the best time. He was still quite injured, as he has been for a long time. So it was that I was unexpected. I was just sort of the second. I was always the other guy. That was our joke in the team. I'm just the other guy. It's Hutchie and the other guy. And so they didn't expect me to really be the one that was getting the results, but it worked out well. In Superstock as well. So 2019 was a great year for me overall, and then the Classic TT, winning that. It's obviously not the main TT, but it was the same guys. I was racing with Dunlop and Hillier, and all the main guys. All the main guys were in it. So that was amazing to win that. I'd say the Classic TT win is actually, for me, was better for me than the Superstock podium. So and I was hoping to build on that with Rich Energy OMG. But I'll have to wait till next year now, because I feel that the best is yet to come. No question. One thing that I've not asked anybody yet, but I feel I can ask you this: what's in your TT career so far, whether it's on the classics or whether it's on the regular TT, what's been your biggest wide-eyed moment while you've been out on circuit that nobody's seen? I've had a couple of I think everybody has, like, near misses here. I've been on the white line on the exit of the mountain mile just before the bridge. That was in one of my first years. It scared the shit out of me. And excuse me, that Rich Energy is good. It just makes me burp, and it fires me up. So I've had a few moments like that, but nothing too crazy. On the Norton, I outbraked myself. I had a little bit of an oil leak, so I was focused on that, and I missed my braking marker. I ended up in a field with that, but that was, didn't even break the screen. It was just that was not scary at all, really. It was scary to begin with, because I was braking. I thought I was going to hit a wall, but I hit those air fences. As soon as I hit the air fence at the end of Solby, it was just like hitting a pile of balloons, and those went. And the next thing I was like, "Fuck!" There's a like about a few foot drop, and then you're in a field. So it was that was nothing really. But yeah, the few little moments that you have that you just sort of think, "Shit, that was close." Oh, and also the Ballacry jump in 2018 was in the Golf BMW. That was, I just had this little wobble going out of 3 Ballacry, and this little wobble like this. I was like, "Shit, this ain't fixing itself." And as soon as I hit the jump, I just went, "Fuck off!" And that there was a big tank slapper. Once it settled, back on the throttle, away it went, and I got 4th in that race. But
it didn't unsettle you too much then?
No, I forgot about it, to be honest, because the green light TV crew come up and they're like, because I had an onboard camera. They're like, "Is there any moments we're going to look back on?" Because they don't sit there and watch the whole thing.
No, you have to pick your chapters.
I was like, "No, not really." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Yeah. I had a massive one. I completely forgot about it until they asked me. And then I got on TV. Luckily, they asked me.
It's a weird thing, isn't it, being a TT rider, because you cannot focus on that's just gone, because you're already in to your next section of corners.
Yeah.
And what happened, and you just prove it then when you come back and go, "No, I don't think anything." "Oh, yeah, so I did." And it takes you a while to process where you'd been on it.
It does,
and
yeah.
The beauty of doing these podcasts, talking to the guys like yourselves from the TT, it's so different to BSB because you have such different experiences and completely different mindset, obviously, because of where we are and what we do. What's your mindset coming to the TT? How do you prepare for a TT fortnight?
Yeah, well, the lead up that we had was looking really good, and I mean, it's after when I was in hospital, it was all of a sudden like it was full on 2 BSB 2 rounds, and then there was nothing. But obviously, if I finished those 3 laps, I was going to say not bother about the day after, because I was just riding around. I was like, "I'm done. Like, let's move on to the Northwest." And then you go to the Northwest, and Northwest is one I've never really enjoyed. It's just so basic, and it's a road race, but it's not the same as here. Like, this is a rider's track, whereas at the Northwest you just need to be really good under brakes and have a really fucking fast bike. It's as simple as that. And yeah, so I wasn't overly looking forward to that, but I know you've got to do that to sort of get the high-speed stability, and you just got to go through all that. But there's years that I've missed the Northwest, and with the Norton, we didn't go there, and we still come here and did all right. Like, it's we did high-speed testing at Bruntingthorpe Airfield, so we knew what the bike was going to do at high speed. So yeah, that's the standard lead up. And then Northwest, then being focus wise, it's sort of a week before you get here is the time when you really start to get the pre-TT nerves. But I've almost forgotten what that's like because it was 2019 now. So this year, after I crashed and then I got the news that I wasn't going to ride, I just switched off really from motorbikes. I was like, I hated them. So I just basically, I was trying to get better as quick as possible, and I was really like, and looking at me now, it's such a fine line. Like I could get on a bike now and I feel that I could be fast. Like, so I'm pretty much I'm ready for practice week right now. And if I did that by the end of practice week, I'd be full fitness if I started practice week right now. So it's just such a fine line, and I was hello mate. Yeah, so very close to being right, which annoys me a little bit, but the decision had to be made, and I respect the decision because it was the right decision at the end of the day. And yeah, that's so when it all the pre-TT sort of mental focus and lead up just finished for me. That was yeah, I was switched off. So yeah, it's 2019 was the last time I went through that, and I can't remember what it was like.
Well, the one thing I've got to ask you about it, and we'll move on from it from there, because I've asked everybody so far. The hand on the shoulder on the start line, that's something you've experienced a number of times. You sat on the start line, you're looking down Glen Crutchery Road, you've got 10 seconds between your point on the walkthrough to then get to the line. Tapman puts his hand on your shoulder. What are you thinking?
That's the mega nerves that like I can't really explain it, to be honest, and it's only the few that have done the TT and have been in that situation that know what it's like. We got to look at each other and go, yeah, I know it. Like we can sort of get ourselves back to that feeling, but we can't explain it. So it's just a flood of emotions that are going through you. And once you take off, when you go into no man's land, that point from just before the start, it's about 50 meters, is it? And you just sort of walking your bike in really slow, and you can hear a pin drop because everyone's shitting themselves. And then because when I've been number one as well, that his hand's on your shoulder, and when he does time, that's when it's 30 seconds, and then he'll go 10 seconds, and I'm like 9 and 8 and 7 and trying to count, because then you get ready for it, because when I have launch controls where you and then go. There's a Norton video that's got millions of views that I had it's like launch controls like for about 5 seconds, so I was like 9 and 10 and 9 and 8 and 7. I was just counted too quick, and then I got to 3, but I should have been at 6, so it was like 5 seconds of like the limiter, and then I took off. So yeah, that's a crazy feeling. But once you take off and you go down Bray Hill for the first time, it's those nerves go away, and then you go into sort of autopilot and just focus on what's going on.
How long does it take you to go from Jesus Christ, what am I doing, to, well, I'm going to be this corner next, I'm here and I'm this, and then you get in the flow of the TT?
More so just after Quarter Bridge, because Bray Hill for me is the scariest part on the track. So once you get to that bit, on a full tank, the first lap it's not too bad, but still it's pretty like the bottom of Bray Hill, and then you're up over Argos, and then the next jump as well, which is like hasn't got a name, but it's at the bottom of Selborne Drive.
Haven't you christened that this jump week?
Well, I've
do I not think you've christened it this week? That second rise.
Yeah, I just said answers on a postcard on the live coverage, and there's people messaging me like, it should be called this name, this name, this name, this name. But yeah, so it needs a name.
Davo's.
And no, you got to win at least 10 TTs to have a name around this track, in my opinion, because there's only a certain amount of corners and jumps and stuff to name. So yeah, that's what I would say. You got to win at least 10 TTs to get a name.
When the time comes in 3, 4, 5 years, whatever time, you look at what John's doing now at 50 years old, you've got a good 15 years to catch up with John at 50. I'll back you up, pal. I'll back you up. Would you continue with the TT and pass on your vast knowledge to up-and-coming riders? We were talking to Matty Stevenson earlier on before you came in. Would you go into kind of mentoring riders, that kind of thing?
Probably, because I did a bit of that this year. Because I was, I've done a heap of laps with different riders, just passed on a bit of knowledge, I suppose. And that's and me doing laps as well. That's because I'm still racing, so I want to do as many laps as I can to familiarise myself with the joint.
Good word. I like it.
Yeah, it's a good thing I didn't get on the piss last night. I wouldn't have been able to do that. Say that. But
you were a good boy last night.
I was. I'm looking after my voice.
He says that you're doing a podcast.
Yeah, I'm not singing. I'll keep it below 11,000 RPM. We're sweet. But yeah, so I've been doing a bit of that, and yeah, I mean, Dom Herbis is one I've been helping out. He's a Rich Ainslie rider, and also, I mean, with James, I didn't go for a lap, but it's yeah, that's keeping me busy there, just talking about what I do. Like, I mean, we're all different as riders, so I know that with his experience for the past however long has been Kawasaki, so he knows exactly how that should feel, whereas I've been on different bikes pretty much every year since I started it, pretty much. Like, every year, different bike, and doing the Norton thing. Well, it's 2 years of Norton, 16, 17. And that was a big experience of me in developing a bike, and it went well. So hopefully he liked my information that I gave. But like I said, I would have made bigger changes. Just especially for that lap yesterday, I would sort of the things that I would have changed. I told them that I would do that, and they didn't go that full hog, but they went in that direction.
So you're waiting for the point, then you can come back in and go, "Told you so."
No, I just want to get on that bike, and because I know how good it felt for me, and I know what I feel that I'll be able to do on it. So yeah, that's when the depression kicks in when I say shit like that. But yeah, so
now we've got to move it on again. Now we've got to move it on again. Talk to me about these bus tours you've been doing on Davo's tours.
Yeah, well I just finished doing one. I usually do them with a load of Australians, but there's not as many Australians this year. There's still a fair few, like hundreds of them, whereas usually there's more. This bus today was full of Americans and a few Australians, and yeah, took them for a bus lap around, and luckily we got the whole way around. It was the first one when we get to Ramsey and it was open. Like the one before was Ramsey was closed, and it's a long way to come back on the freaking coast road.
Yeah, that's not the best way. Not on a coach.
And that was after a night out. So I was looking behind. It was just a Q&A session from Ramsey back to here on the coast road. So I was just like nearly spewing up in my mouth every 5 minutes. But yeah, that was cool. And that's also good for me because I'm talking about, all right, this manhole cover there, and this tree, the mushroom tree, this mark on the road. And it just, makes it sort of... familiarizes myself with the circuit.
You're getting there.
And also the track's changing a bit. So where it's gotten better, they've resurfaced it. In other areas, it's got worse. So yeah, like Ginger Hall, everybody's been about 1.5 meters off the apex because it's a big bump in the middle. And Solby Straight is a lot more tree roots coming through.
Heard that from nearly everybody we've spoken to. Like
Yeah.
Sulby Straight now has almost got like whoops on it.
Yeah,
more than anything else.
Yeah, it's pretty sketchy. But and I was looking on
Even
the
I can do the hand gestures
on the TT on the live coverage. I was looking at where they were sitting on the road, and it seems like in the middle of the road, or just left of the dotted white line in the middle, is pretty much the smoothest. So that's been the TT live stuff's been helping with that as well for for August when I come back. But yeah, and the bus tours have been good for that and keeps everyone. Yeah, I mean they're all happy with it, and my shitty jokes, and I swear a bit more on there. I give the Germans shit because they always seem to crash on the mountain. And there's all the German signs around.
Links fahren.
Links fahren, yeah, it was keep left. That's only in German. There's no other language, but there's a lot of different people here from all over the world, but they only have that sign in German. It tells a story, doesn't it?
It does. The law of averages says.
Yeah.
When you're on these bus tours and you're open to any questions at all, aren't you? That's the thing. So they can be from the most basic questions for people who are here the first time, and there'll be somebody trying to think of a complex question. Can you remember what questions ever caught you out where you've had to go, oh, and had to think about it?
Not really, because I'm flat out talking. I try not to, don't give them time to ask questions. When I do ask questions, it's all about sort of, they're asking about me really.
Yeah.
But there are sometimes they ask, I'll try and go through everything so they don't have anything to ask. Like with each corner, I'm like, this is 4th gear, 155 miles an hour, and then up to 6 over this rise. What's the jump? And they just sit there like just dumbfounded really. And then I say German joke and everyone laughs.
I get that with talking around the lap, because anybody watching and listening, as you've seen Milky Quail talk round a lap when he does it in the 3 sectors, and we're fortunate enough back early in the year to listen to Dean Harrison and John McGuinness describe John's lap from 2015. The amount of information that you can process while you're going round 220 whatever corners, you sort of 4th gear here, 5th gear, mind the manhole cover, out to the white line, pull it back. Talking through that, the amount of information you have around this course is incredible.
Yeah, and it's one of the, I get asked that a lot, to be honest, like how do you remember it all? And it's like, it is that firmly bedded in my brain, I can't forget it now. Because I know it's a 3-year apprenticeship, like they say. Some people do well in their 2nd year, like Steve Plater did. But yeah, safely it's a 3-year apprenticeship. And then from then on, it's just there's no substitute for experience. The more you do, the more you remember. And literally like you said, every bump, manhole cover, tree, bloody painted house, painted door on someone's house. It's so embedded in my brain. It's just like it's on tap whenever I need it. So the more you do it, the more you get like that. And I think everybody in my situation have done the TT a lot of times. Like especially John. John's like an almanac of information, McGuinness, and we're all in the same boat. We can do that. That's just how it is. The more you do the TT.
Who's impressed you this year? While you've been on the live feed, you've had a chance to keep an eye on the speeds and on the riders up and coming. We said Matty Stevenson earlier, Nathan Harrison, guys like that are coming through. And obviously Glenn Irwin as a newcomer this year. Who's impressed you? Who stood out for you over the last sort of 10 days?
Well, it's got to be Davey Todd. He's the standout at the moment. Obviously he's had a few issues which has knocked his confidence, but he's obviously got that back now after the Superstock race. That was awesome, and he needed that good result there to sort of bring himself back. And so for me, he's the standout guy. I mean, there is a fair few down the field. Like I said, the top 10 is not as deep as it would usually be. There's a few out on one of them.
I knew that was coming.
But it's David Todd is an impressive guy, great guy as well, and what he's doing is definitely he's the next guy everyone's watching. But I was supposed to start 9, he was going to be 8, so it would have been a good target, and if I caught him, I would have been pretty happy.
We'll do 2 questions to finish off. You came in a bit earlier, you know what the questions are. So
can't remember them.
Oh, that's all right.
I remember every single bump on the TT. I can't remember what you said 5 minutes ago.
As far as the TT is concerned, what's your favourite section?
Favourite section's easy. It's the Glen Helen section.
Yeah.
The whole bit from Ballacrane all the way to Cronkavody. I love that bit. Okay. And when I sold Milky that, and he was like, "What is that?" I was like, "I don't know, I just fucking like it." And he said, "Well, that's the hardest bit to learn because there's lots of blind stuff." And I think that really helped me, just because I liked it. It helped me learn it, and especially at Laurel Bank. I said to the guys on the bus tour this morning, like, we're full throttle still here at this point, and all you're looking at is the hedges. And if you don't roll off at this point, you're going into the hedge. And like it's all blind. And it looks the same. Looks like you can just fifth gear all the way through, or like that's what catches.
It really sucks you in.
A lot of newcomers out, yeah. So that's why it's hard to learn. But I just love that bit. So that's my favourite bit.
Okay, so outside of the road racing, your short circuit time, you've raced on a multitude of different circuits. What's your favourite corner outside of the TT and why?
Another easy one. Eau Rouge at Spa.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, I raced there 2006, and I love that joint. Like, we're the first bikes to race there in a lot of years before that, and straight away I got pole position in the Dutch Superbike, and I love that track. Like that is my sort of track, mate. Like, that is amazing. Yeah, Eau Rouge, just like hooking 4th gear and high G's on the way up. The first time through there, everyone knows Eau Rouge, it's famous. It really does go up a hill more than it goes downhill more than what you think, and uphill more than what you think through the actual corner. My phone's ringing.
And you get a good look at it as well out of the hairpin, don't you? You can see it ahead of you, so you've got to go down.
Get as close as you can to the wall on the left.
So you go left, and then right through it, and then left over the crest at the top. Yeah, what an incredible section of track.
Oh, awesome. My first lap, because it goes left, right, and it keeps turning to the right, and then left. So I went, the first time through there, just went in, just up, boom, back to 4th gear, and then through the right, and then straight off the track. Because it's fully blind, that bit.
Yes, blind crest, yeah.
Yeah, and that surprised me. Like, they're just all of a sudden like, fuck, track's over there. Just suddenly. And so Eau Rouge at Spa, that's my favourite corner, no doubt.
Barry Sheen still hold the track record for that. Is
that
120?
Oh, I think
the old layout.
The old layout, yeah, he does. For average speed, yeah.
125 mile an hour or something, Dave.
I think it's even more than that.
Was it more than that?
It's more than. Well, I think it was more than here.
Was it really?
I thought it was 140 or something like that.
It wouldn't surprise me. I need to do my homework.
Because it was just flat out everywhere. and now there's a lot more chicanes and stuff. But it's different now than it was when I did it. They changed the last couple of corners. They used to sort of do that chicane and then a big sweeper onto the straight. Now there's another chicane. But yeah, still cool as that joint.
And my favourite question, especially because it's you, and I'm sure there'll be one or two stories coming. What's your best hire car story, Davo?
Oh shit! I've had to say it recently. Oh yeah, this is one. We're not going to mention names. That's right. Because no, I won't. I don't want to.
See, you're doing now exactly what you're doing now is one of two reactions that you get when you ask that question. People will either go, "Don't know if I can," or they go, "Mate, I've got to tell you this," and they start leaning forward because you know what's coming. So go for it, mate.
Yeah. So we're at, where were we? Cartagena in Spain, testing there. And actually, the day we all went out at night time with everybody was at the same bar, and everyone's all fueled up. And that day I actually broke my arm, so I wasn't going to ride the next day, so I was all good. I could absolutely send it and get real drunk, whereas the other guys couldn't as much. They still did though. It is only testing, isn't it? Like,
of course it is.
I was riding for a team, I won't mention it. A good team, and had a good teammate. We're in super stock.
Don't mention the year either, because people will work it out.
Yeah, okay. And this team ended up going on to, I think they won a British Championship, but in Superbike. But yeah, this is their first year, and they went in super stock. And so yeah, I was all injured, and the more drinks I had, the more didn't think I was injured anymore. I was dancing and absolute idiot because I couldn't move the next day. And then so we left there, and we're doing handbrakes in the car park, and then we took off, and then flattened it down the road, and next thing, blue lights behind us, and the rider in question, top rider, he just absolutely sent it full throttle away from trying to get away from the old Roses. And then next thing, there was about 5 of them behind us, and we got to the point going towards the main the town centre, and then he just thought, nah, we're off, and then pulled off. And then next thing, coppers came in, battens in the window, dragging us all out. And I was in a cast, so I didn't get hit, luckily, because I was already injured, but the other guys definitely did. And the driver spent a bit of time in the old Nick. And then he was supposed to ride my bike to make sure it was all good the next day, and obviously he was testing, and the mechanics were there the next day. Apparently I was still in bed because I didn't need to get up, and yeah, luckily I didn't get locked up as well. But the mechanics were there just revving the bike up in the pits, and they're like, where are they? Where's everyone? Who's in the nick? So yeah, that's my hire car story. So a few windows smashed in, but it wasn't fast enough to get away from the old coppers.
It's never going to be quick. The hire cars are quick, but they're not that quick.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I mean, he didn't get in trouble that much. It was just because he didn't cause any dramas. Luckily, he didn't go through red lights. But yeah, he didn't spend too long in that little lockup.
I tell you what we have to do when we go testing next year, or if it's the end of this year or early next year, we need to do timed runs down the approach road at Cartagena.
Could do.
I think that'd be good fun.
Yeah.
We get a load of stories about that because it is unique in a circuit approach road, isn't it? It's just a dirt track and with corners, blind crests and everything else. I think we should do some timed runs next year. What do you reckon?
I'm up for that, but I'm too tight ever to get the full insurance. They're like, oh, it's an extra £100 for insurance. I'm like, nah, screw that. The next thing it's on its roof. I'm like, oh fuck, I wish I'd spent that £100.
So you got John Boy reversing into you or something like that. You go, like, sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
brilliant.
geez.
Davo Johnson, thank you so much for joining us, mate.
Cheers,
Congratulations on the TV this week, and we will see you back next year.
Yeah, mate, definitely. Thank you.
Thanks, Davo.